Okay, I think we got it going and recording. So welcome to the Team 360 team call for Monday, November 9th, 2015. I'm Amanda Noddings, and I am hosting tonight because Tanya had an engagement with her son for his soccer team, I believe. So I am going to do a little presentation on social media 101, and I have to admit, it's just mostly geared towards some of it is about branding yourself, but mostly the examples I have will be from Facebook because I feel like that is my strong point. I've been working on Instagram over the last year, but it's really not something I garner a lot of business from. I just keep hacking at it like everything else in this business is trial and error. So that's what most of this is going to refer to. And really, I just want to be able to show you guys, talk to you guys about a few things, and just give you kind of a guideline for what you can and can't do with social media, and a great kind of foundation to start, especially if you're a new coach, but even for seasoned coaches, just things that might make this helpful, make it easier for you, and give you some sort of guidelines. So when you get on the computer, you're not like, I don't even know what to post. I don't know where to start. I think that a lot of people feel like, oh, I have to post so many things today, and I don't know what to do. And so this, I think, will help you kind of hone it in. Okay. So if we can get the slides to work, we will go. So let's talk about it. Let's get right in. Branding yourself. So I think that when you are thinking about, for business purposes, your Facebook, you want to think about what you want people to know about you. So I try and think about what areas of my life I want to pull the curtain back and what I don't. And I know a lot of people go back and forth between wanting everything public, wanting nothing public, wanting tons of friends, but having their posts only show to their friends. If I could go back in time and fix everything, and maybe one day I will hire an assistant to go through everything I've ever posted that's public, and kids, this, that, the other, and change it. But right now my profile's set to public. And like I said, you can change certain posts as you go, but really what you need to do is make sure that when someone is looking at your page, they get a good snapshot of you, and you build your brand around yourself. So I think that a great way to do this is to start thinking about what are your 3 to 5 passions, right? So you want to pull back the curtain and show people a little peek into you, because this is your reality show. That's the way I think of it, and it's my life, take it or leave it kind of thing. So what are those things that make you special, and what are the things that you spend your time on? What are the things that are important to you? That's what I would focus on. So oh, hi Misty, I just made you really big. Sorry about that. So okay, so I try and say, okay, what are my 3 to 5 passions? And I use a Post-it note, and I slap it right on the inside of my laptop, or a note on my phone, or whatever works for you. If you have a power hour list, I have those things written on the top of my power hour list. And that just gives me some ideas and some guidelines, so I'm not like fishing and grasping at straws when it's time to post. One thing I will say is to set yourself up with, as it says, a nice profile picture. It should show your face. I know we've all heard this before, and it should really show you. And then a cover photo. I do like some of the beautiful pictures someone will have of themselves this far away standing on a mountain and I'm awesome. But if someone can't scroll through and know that's you, and then connect that to your other profiles and personalities, even if it's not the same exact picture, it should look like the same person so they can figure out that's you. That's important. And then, what are you trying to say about those 3 to 5 things in your life? And that will give you kind of a guideline. So you don't have that, what do I post about thing? So examples would be, for me, clean eating and cooking. I love to cook. I love to try and find recipes, and I love to bake, which are 2 separate things. And I like to try and find things that people love, and comfort foods, and things I used to struggle with wanting to eat too much of or tons of, and try and find ways to make those healthier, and really find clever ways to get my family to eat healthier. So that's one of my passions. So you'll see things about that sometimes. Obviously my children I'm obsessed with, and I love them, and they're my biggest joy. So those are in there. My role in nursing and hospice care is super important to me. So oftentimes you'll see some of that. I'm just going to scroll down real quick. Somebody's muted. There you go. And so you'll see sometimes I talk about that. I have to be really careful when I talk about work because those things are really limited since I work for the federal government, and I have to be careful there. But I share as much as I can about those things. And sometimes my faith, a lot of times my marriage, I'm working on that. I'm trying to keep it. So anyway, those are my few things. And yours can be whatever they are to you if you're a leader in your church, or you're a Girl Scout leader, or you, I love the outdoors and I try and get things like that in, whatever it is. But make a little bullet point list of those things, and that will help guide you. And then make sure you have that nice catching profile picture to go with it. And that will help steer you on what you want people to see about you. And if there's certain things that you want to keep private, those things are yours still, that's fine. The more you share, the better, I think, in most respects. However, you are the one who has to live with it and be comfortable with it, and it has to speak to you, not someone else. So the next step I would say is know your ideal customer. So for me, I should probably minimize this so you can see. So know your ideal customer. So this says meet Rachel. And this is my ideal customer, or at least one avatar that would help me kind of find that person. So think about who they are, what they do for a job, how old they are, what do they do for fun? If they have 5 minutes, what do they do? So mine is a busy mom. And if I was thinking smart business wise, maybe I'd think I don't want a busy mom because she might be too busy for Beachbody. But I would probably relate to a busy mom better because I am one. She might work in the medical field. She might find that she's tired a lot. She loves to go outdoors, but she probably doesn't do it enough. She loves her children fiercely and is very passionate about that. I'm not going to relate to someone who is not really happy with the fact they're a mom. And yes, there are some out there. Someone who lives in a good neighborhood or wants to. That's someone who, like me, I didn't live in the best neighborhood when I started this, and I really wanted out. But the reason I wanted to live in a better neighborhood was because I care about my kids. I like to have nice things. I'm not afraid to work hard for them. And so those little things are indicators of other things that we might have in common. And it doesn't have to be all these things, but a couple of them probably are going to pop up at least a couple at a time when you're trying to figure out who your ideal customer is. Loves her husband, probably really needs a vacation, likes a cup of coffee. Now, does that mean that if I talk to someone who doesn't like coffee, I'm like, oh, I can't work with them? No, but it just means these are things that describe them if I was thinking about them and what they're doing. So this is my ideal customer that I could relate to on tons of levels. So when you are getting ready to post, you should be thinking like you're talking to this person. And a really good way to help figure out these like attributes and characteristics are to think of like a challenger or a coach you have now currently, or if you don't have any yet, these items, but think of like the person that you can't wait to talk to them, or you can't wait to open an email from them. Or if you get a text from them, you're like, oh, I have to go look and see what so-and-so said. That's the person that's your ideal customer or coach on your team, because they get you excited and you relate to them and you identify with each other. And there's a reason for that. So, and oftentimes it's because of these things listed here. So I challenge you to take 5 minutes and write down a list, just 5 minutes after this call, and write down this ideal customer or coach and those bullet points, because it will really help you when you are posting. So when you're posting, you should be talking to this person. Okay, so this is a great tip I have for you, is not to try and speak to 100 different people at once. And in the beginning, I felt like I did this a lot. Like I would start to write something and I would say, oh my gosh, what if I say this? This might alienate this person. Or what if I say this? This might alienate this person. And I do tone down some of my opinions. Sometimes I'm tempted to jump into a rant or give a really fierce thing about something that's important to me. And then I step back sometimes, but some things are important enough that I don't care. Like I did do posts about supporting gay marriage because it is important to me. And some people might not appreciate that side of me. And you know what? We probably wouldn't work well together. So in that respect, a fundamental respect of that, or being having some sort of faith. I don't care what their faith is, but having faith in something, I think that's an important attribute. So as long as you're not completely satanic, we'll probably get along okay. But those things, I just speak to that person that I want to help, that ideal customer. And that's how I focus my conversation and my posts. So instead of saying like, I have a half an hour free this morning, and there's nothing I enjoy more than being in the bathtub with candles and a good book and going on a hike outside and cooking in my kitchen and getting my nails done and going shopping. You can't be all those things, and you can't say all those things that are your favorite thing at one time. So what is the real you want? What does your ideal customer want? So that's a stupid kind of just generic example, but when you're thinking about how you post to them, I want you to think about what their fears are and what their anxieties are and what their struggles are, and touch their heart. Because that's how you're going to impact someone with what you post about. That's how you're going to get the people who read it and are like, whoa, she's talking to me. Because you're talking to this ideal customer and you're touching on what's going through their mind and their heart. So I really challenge you to make this list and then try and do a post that speaks just to this person instead of trying to reach 100 different people of all walks of life and not alienate any of them. If I post something about parenthood, I think, I have like 100 single friends that are going to find this annoying. It's okay. It's okay, because I'm talking to my ideal customer right now. And that makes it easier, and it makes it easier to just be myself. So that's my tips for you on that. And when you speak to them and you really speak to what they're feeling and thinking, and what they would be wondering or what they would think of something. If I think something's funny, some of my friends are probably going to think it's funny too, even though 100 people might think it's not. So try and focus your posts that way, and I think that will really help you. So my next piece of advice is, I have notes here, so if I'm looking down, that's why. But jab, 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 right hook. This is a book by Gary Vaynerchuk, and if you haven't read it, I strongly recommend you do. It's a fabulous book, and it has like a chapter on all different types of social media. So if you are an Instagram person, there is a chapter on that. But the concept of this is exactly the same. And what that means is, and I like this quote on here from Zig Ziglar. It says, you can have everything in your life you want if you will just help enough people get what they want. So when you're posting, you shouldn't be, even if you're posting to that ideal customer, you don't want to ask them 5 times a day to join your challenge group. What you want to do is give little pieces of value and provide little positives every step of the way if you can. So I say value, 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 offer. Jab, 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 right hook. Value, 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 offer. So it says, also known as the 80-20 rule. We're in the business of sharing. And so share what you're doing and experience it with that person. And that's how you're going to be able to provide value in an easier way. When you say provide value, you're like, I need a form, or I need a worksheet, or you need this. Think back to the beginning of coaching, or for me, that's what I try and do. And sometimes I would just like have a new way of slicing a vegetable that I didn't know how to cut a pepper, and I had to Google it. Okay. So then I thought, did you know if you slice this way, this takes like 30 seconds less? Because time is valuable to me. So if that tip saves me time, that was a good share. Sometimes it's just something inspirational. If you are doing personal development, then you should have something inspirational to post about easily once a day. Just keep a little pen with you when you're doing your 10 or 20 minutes of personal development, and write down that quote that speaks to you, or make a little note or journal it. And then when you're ready to post something, you can look in those list of quotes and things and notes you took and go, oh, that really spoke to me. I bet that will speak to someone else. And then you think of how someone, your ideal customer, would feel, or how it would apply to them. And that's what you write. So that's the difference between selling and sharing. So, Brendon Burchard says, pretend like someone paid you $1,000 for it. So if I told you, I will give you $1,000 tomorrow morning, if each one of you goes home and posts the most motivating, inspirational quote you can think of tomorrow morning, I will give you $1,000. I bet you'd come up with something pretty good, right? I bet you could come up with something that like would blow my socks off. So think of that. Think of that $1,000 post, that $1,000 nugget, that's something that, you know, when someone shares it, you're like, whoa. And it doesn't have to be huge. Like one of my favorite posts in my challenge groups that gets the most traction is the rubber band trick on water bottles. I tell them, like, if you need 100 ounces and you have a 20-ounce water bottle, put 5 rubber bands at the top, and every time you fill it or drink one, you put a rubber band on the bottom. By the end of the day, all your rubber bands are at the bottom. You don't lose track of how many times you filled your water. It's easy to see if you're behind. And then you just push them up to the top or move them back and restart the next day. Easy tracking, no app, no nothing. It's portable. It goes with you. And it's just like a couple of rubber bands that you can get for 5 cents at Walmart. Everybody has some around their house. They come in the junk mail. Little helpful tip, but it always gets a lot of traction in my group because it's valuable. It doesn't matter if someone said it before. No one said it to your ideal customer like you will. And that's all that matters. That doesn't mean plagiarize people. That means say, hey, I just found this out. I was Googling ways to track my water and I can't believe this. I tried it this week and it helped. That provides value to someone. And then what happens is when somebody's ready to pull the trigger and make a go at this thing and jump in as a coach or with fitness, they say something like, well, she's never steered me wrong before, you know? And then maybe they're ready to bite because they tried a recipe you shared, or they were inspired by what you said last week, or, you know, they had something funny, you know, a message just popped up on my screen while we're talking. And I can tell you right now, I'll share it with you. It says, I just love you. You are such an amazing girl role model. I normally hate seeing these kind of pics all over, but I look forward to seeing yours. You inspire. God has put you in the leadership role for a reason. It just came through right now. And that blows me away. But I don't know what post made her say that. But the point is that something I said spoke to her, and she's someone I want to coach on my team. So that's really cool because that means that I'm talking to the people that matter in the way that resonates with them, and that she normally wouldn't want to see my sweaty selfie or my workout picture. Oh, some chick showing her abs, or that's probably the one it's related to because I posted it before this call. But it didn't annoy her because I do inspire her and she has found value from my other posts. So that's good. That's reassuring because whenever I post something like that, I have butterflies in my stomach, just like you guys might. Like, is this right or is this wrong? Are people going to get sick of this? Am I going to get unfriended for this? Who cares? I can't worry about that stuff. And look, it spoke to someone I'm trying to speak to, so that's good. All right. Probably enough on that. You guys get it. I feel weird because since I have the PowerPoint up, I can't see your faces, so I have no idea if anyone's like following along or if everyone hung up or whatever. I can't even see you. So I'll just continue on. All right. This slide I have says, share your own story. And I included a post on here at the picture I did from February when I finished Insanity Max 30. So you can see it. And I made a little pic collage of my own pictures with the before and the after. And I posted my results. And when I did Max 30, I was expecting like some serious, like my first program was Insanity and I lost a ton of weight with that. And then this is this like shredded, intense version. And I mean, I pushed myself really hard in that program and I grew a ton emotionally, but I didn't actually have the physical results I wanted. So does that mean that I didn't share them? No. And does it mean that I didn't tell people how it turned out? No, I shared it. And this is what I wrote in case you can't read it. It says, I'm super proud today that I completed all 60 days of Insanity Max 30. This program taught me so much about myself in ways other programs haven't. This time, I didn't lose any weight. I actually gained 2 pounds. This time, I did the craziest workouts I've ever done in a half an hour. This time, I didn't see definition in the places I was looking for it because I was really looking to tone down my thighs. But I said this time I learned even more so how big a role nutrition plays in your results. And I'm excited to move forward with my new knowledge. Oh, I skipped a line. I said, this time I saw awesome changes in areas I thought were done changing. So I can see that my abs got better during this program in that picture on the bottom right. And I didn't expect that because I thought my abs were as good as they were going to get. So that was a cool bonus of this program. And the mental gains I made were huge. And so I could have said, well, I gained 2 pounds, so I better not post about this. And I didn't want to leave the numbers out. I just wanted to say, well, I gained 2 pounds, but look, I did something I never thought I could do, and I completed it from day 1 to day 60, and I rocked it out. I maxed out. So I shared that, and people messaged me about this. I got a coach off this post, actually, because, the whole time I'm doing the program, people are waiting for the results. That's why it's #results day, because I've been sharing as I go, periodically sprinkling in here and there, a sweaty selfie here, or oh my gosh, look at how my workout mat looks today, or here's what I'm eating today and I'm still going strong on max 30, along with my other regular posts of those 3 to 5 interests or whatever that I normally would do without thinking, but then I sprinkled this in. So I think that it's really important to, a good rule of thumb is be the person that the younger you needed. So, be honest, like this post, just be honest about what you have and think about the person the younger you needed. So maybe this wouldn't inspire me today, but you know what? Last year when I could barely get up off the couch, this would have inspired me. This would have spoke to me. I would have said, I wonder what she's doing. Wow, she looks good. I wonder, if she could do that, maybe I could do that. Or I wonder how much that costs or whatever my questions are. And I might reach out to her because this is out there. If it's not out there, how would anyone know to reach out to you? So you do have to share and be willing to be honest and share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then, some people hesitate with what they post, and they think like, God, what if someone sees this? Like my ex might see this or something like that. Who cares? What is your ex your next customer? Is your ex somebody that you care what they think deep down in your heart, and that's going to make or not make you happy? Then don't worry about it. Who cares if they see it? If you don't want them to see it that bad, block them. They shouldn't be on your page anyway. But if you don't care and have that confidence in yourself and know that you're sharing something valuable, and then you don't have to feel guilty a day in your life, and you don't have to feel embarrassed, and it is what it is. So when you're sharing your story, think about what you've done and talk about the pretty and the not so pretty. So I think if you think about like reality shows like The Bachelor or the Kardashians, right? Those Kardashians, what do they have of value to offer? What? Nothing. I'm telling you right now. Okay, maybe some things, but nothing like academic, nothing valuable that I'm going to take home and put in my purse. But we all watch them or follow them or watch The Bachelor or watch American Idol and have that one singer we root for. We all have something. Why? Because we fall in love with their story. That's why. So share your story and people will fall in love with you and your journey and your honesty and your integrity if you just stick to that and just share freely what you feel you've done and accomplished. Just craft your story and remember that people love you for you and they love your story. And the more you share it, the more they're going to fall in love with it. So let's move on to the next slide. So here's another example of sharing your own story. This is a little model you can use to figure out how to post. You don't have to stick to it, but it's a good guideline. Like if you're going to write a sharing post, make sure the first, and you can write this little formula down if you want. I think it's really helpful. Make sure the first sentence is an attention grabber. So the first sentence of my post tonight, I started with this like emotional, la, 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 introspective. But then I think, and I'm like, no one's going to read past the first 4 words. It's so boring. But I thought it was moving, but it doesn't matter how moving it is if no one reads it, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the most emotionally riveting post you've ever made. If no one gets in to read to the end, it doesn't matter. So Facebook's going to show the first 3 or 4 sentences and then it's over. That's what. And someone can click see more if those first 3 or 4 sentences grab their attention. But even more so than that, people are going to read the first sentence. And by read, I mean skim. So make sure that first sentence is an attention grabber. And that doesn't mean, hey, read me. But it means Say something like, I think this post here, I might have said something like, this is real life or something. And that was the first sentence, period. And then I went to a next paragraph. Make your paragraph short and make sure your picture. So here's an example of a picture I posted on Instagram. I got a lot of likes, and I think on my fitness page also. But make sure that your photo is clear and bright. If you're trying to get a lot of engagement with a post, or you're trying to add value to people and really get them to stop scrolling through their newsfeed, you want something that's going to grab their attention. So yes, I'm not saying you have to do what I did, which is put your wrinkly ass, brain, stomach on here like I did. But I did, because I was taking a picture to post my post-workout picture, and then I was like moving the camera around to get the lighting, and then I was like, oh my God, look at that. If I lean forward one more inch, it's like, whoa. And the first one is like, whoa, abs. And the second one is like, oh God, put a shirt on. And then I was like, screw it. Because people do say to me, well, I will never have abs like yours. Well, this is my abs. Both of those, both are on the same day. And so I think that being real and sharing that is important. Remember to use feeling words, right? So I wanted to talk about, if you're feeling like you can never have abs like these, or if you're feeling like self-conscious from those lines and those wrinkles and those this and that, don't forget I have them too, and we earn them, and they're not hard to come by, right? But I just think that this post could even be about, I remember feeling so embarrassed at the thought of taking my shirt off, even in front of my husband. That's true. We used to only have the lights off. If I had to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and I wasn't fully dressed, which I hate to sleep in anything but fully dressed, so there's a little fact about me. I don't like clothes in bed. And if I need to go to the bathroom, I would have to make sure all the lights were off, or I would have to pull the sheet off the bed and run to the bathroom with the sheet wrapped around me. And this is my husband, because that's how self-conscious I was. And it's embarrassing to admit, and it makes me uncomfortable now to think about. It makes me want to cry that I couldn't even get up out of bed and go to the bathroom without like feeling self-conscious and having to cover myself up in front of the person who loves me no matter what. That's feeling words. Did that get you at all? Because it got me just saying it right now off the top of my head. So, God, that's sad. Anyway, make sure that you use those feeling words, like we talked about before, speaking to the ideal customer or coach you want, speaking to the way you feel and how it applies to your life, or how it will apply to the life of your ideal coach or customer, and you will get results and traction with your posts. And those are the ones where people are going to send you a message afterwards and say, that really blew me away. Or they're going to send you a comment on that picture and say, you are so brave for sharing this. I felt like that 100 times and I thought I was the only one. So there's an example. And at the end, the last part of the formula is always have a call to action. Make sure that you're asking them to do something. Like, even if it's not something, sometimes my action isn't like buy a challenge pack. Sometimes it's trying to have a beautiful day today, or remember this message, or think of one positive thing about your day. You know, like sometimes it's just that, but at least it resonates with them and leaves them thinking. Sometimes it's reach out to me for help. Sometimes it's message me for details. Sometimes it's click over to my blog to see the full recipe. And sometimes it's just, you know, have a great day. So whatever it is, but try and put a call to action, especially if you're reaching out for an invite post. So you're doing your jab, jab, jab. Here's a recipe, jab. Here is a water post, jab. Here is an inspirational quote for the day, jab. Here is what some other things of value. A tip, a way to cut a watermelon that's easier, jab. Here is a life hack. Did you know you could do this and it would save you 20 minutes? Jab. And then when you invite to your challenge group, you grab their attention, you use a great image, you have a great first sentence that makes them read it, You use feeling words and talk about how it applies to you, not just some random post that is copy and pasted from whatever. It just make it apply to your life. And then, you know, you add all those value, jabs when you post for the challenge group. Boom, that's your right hook. Okay, so let's move on because I'm sure I beat that to death. Okay, this is actually a slide I borrowed from, I believe, Brittany Leggett, who is a top 10 coach, actually. And I think she's actually a super Star Diamond now, which means she's a 15-star diamond. And what it says is what at the top, you can't see if you can see this toolbar. I don't know if it's in your guys' way, but it says what I thought my story was. And she said, I'm a normal girl with a normal job. I've barely lost any weight. And I have no huge financial distress. And the reason she said that is because her coach is Lindsay Matway. And Lindsay Matway had great before and after program results from P90X. And she also was completely bankrupt and had a sick daughter and all this stuff. So she has this like very dramatic story, right? So then here's this girl signs up under her. And she's like, well, I just have a normal job. I'm not like a bartender turned millionaire coach. I'm just a normal girl. I didn't have a huge transformation and I'm not under a giant financial distress. So she wasn't sure how she could share her story. But that's your perspective because, excuse me, she says, think of your passions, your obstacles, your victories, and your frustrations. So she started changing her perspective. I lost 20 pounds instead of like, I only lost 20 pounds. I lost 20 pounds. I went from fat to fit. She started sharing more of her life and how she grew up in an abusive household, and that shaped how she got to where she is now. Now, just because she didn't have huge financial distress doesn't mean she isn't stressed about money and bills. That can appeal to anyone interested in coaching. And guess what? I'll give you a secret tip here. Everyone stresses about money and bills. Everyone. It's universal. Gosh, unless you're rolling in the dough, you're stressed about money and bills. And if you aren't, you probably should be. She had a stress. She didn't have like a crappy job. She had a normal job, but she had a stressful job. She was a nurse. She was in a toxic relationship before, and that really took a hit on her self-esteem. So she talks about how that has built her back up. She doesn't have a family with a bunch of kids, so she can't talk to all these moms. Well, she wants to provide for her future family. And so her ideal customer, if you look at her thing on this, or if you've ever heard her speak, her ideal customer is someone who's 25 to 35 with no kids and isn't married. 25 to 32, actually. I think she's really specific, with no kids, who isn't married, who loves animals and has puppies. That's none of mine. So we have different ideal customers, and we're speaking to different people, even though some of our things are the same. She's passionate about empowering women, as am I. And she's always known she was meant for something greater. And I've always wondered if I was worth something at all. So we all have different values, but just take your story and slam it out on this piece of paper and say, here's my 3 to 5 things that are most important to me. What is my story? And then craft your post around that story to your ideal customer. So let's move on from that. That might be all of them. That's it. So I'm going to go ahead and open this back up. Oh, Justin graced us with his presence. Okay, so does anybody at all have any questions? You can unmute and ask them now. I do want to say that you are, no matter where you are in this journey, you are ahead of someone else. So remember that, and remember that even if you think, well, maybe I don't have something of value to offer Amanda, well, that's fine. You have something of value to offer Rebecca or Sarah or Josh or Michael. Somebody out there is wishing they were where you are now because you're a step ahead of where they are. So speak to that person, and you will find that you have ways to help other people that you didn't know you necessarily had. Okay? So that's what I have. Anyone have any questions? Let me turn off the screen share and go back. Anyone? No, no one has anything. Well, it was either really boring or you all fell asleep or you didn't learn anything. I don't know. I guess that's all I have. I do want to say, there's a thing from Shalene Johnson where she said that when you take the thing that you are most afraid of and you take the thing that you are most ashamed of or most afraid of in the whole world, and then you take the thing that, think of the thing that you would do for free. What would you do for free that brings you so much joy and passion, or that makes your day, or really gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling and you go, gosh, I wish I could do this all the time. Like I feel that after a really good workout. I'm like, God, I wish I could do this all the time. Or when someone messages me and says, oh, you totally helped me today, and I'm so glad that you shared this post because I really was having a bad morning. And those messages I get make my day, period, right there. And when you find a way to combine the thing that you're the most passionate about and the thing that you're the most scared of or ashamed of, and get them in the same place and connect the two things, that is when you're going to be the most successful. I really think that's true. So maybe you're not ready to share every little thing right now, every big thing, every deep, dark secret. There are certain things in my life that I think would make fabulous posts that would really speak to a lot of people that I don't share out of respect for my mother. Because even if it was something bad that I went through with her, and a lot of people could probably value from it, out of respect for her and love for her, I don't share that stuff. That doesn't mean that I don't talk to people about it sometimes one-on-one, but I'm not going to put it on Facebook because I shouldn't. So that's a part where I choose not to pull back the curtain, and that's okay. But I still find value from that lesson that I've come through, and I can touch on those feelings and make that connect with my passion. And that's when I know I have something really good that's going to work for me. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I guess I'll pop on the chat and make sure I didn't miss a question. I didn't shower either, and I did insanity abs right before we started MP90 abs. Anyone else? Justin, are you unmuted? Did you have something to say? You always have something to say.
Stop it. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
No, I just wanted to say that was a really good call. Probably the best I've heard in a while. And I took a couple of really good nuggets, even though I was only here for half the time, but really well done. Thank you for that.
Good. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Got to put the kids to bed. Cartoons and kids. All right. Well, that's it. I guess I'll wrap it up. I will post a recording in Team 360. Thank you guys so much for popping on, and, share it with your teams or any coaches if you think there's valuable info in there. And I will also post the PowerPoint to the group in case you don't want to write down each slide, but it will help you remember what the notes were. Have a good night, you guys. I almost said love you. Bye.